Welcome to the Vintage edition of the Charlotte Legacy League, where we have all of these decks versus all these decks. A huge thank you to the Patreon supporters who are helping the league and YouTube channel. If you would like to become a supporter, please click on the link in the show notes. If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Game one of this multi-round vintage event that we have here. Spanning over 2 weeks of getting great vintage gameplay from a lot of our players. So this one's going to lead off on Andres versus Hunter, with Andres on his signature Esper Lurrus deck and Hunter on his signature deck of Doomsday. So as we can see, they've already started off pretty quick here, and Andres was on the play, keeping 7, and Hunter on 6 on the draw. Turn 1 Frog is something that Andres loves almost as much as he loved playing Urza Saga, Mox Sapphire, and then Time Walking You. What he used to do to me all the time. So, got a discard down and an attack with the frog. 2 damage coming over to the Doomsday player Hunter, and let's see if there's going to be anything else. Holding a frog back, text message from somebody, force of will with a frog in hand. So he is ready to fight against the Doomsday deck, and he's no slouch against it. Bowmaster coming into play, targeting Hunter. And now we've got a little bit faster of a clock here. So let's see what Andres can throw together now. He's got a Brainstorm, has a Mox he can pitch to the Frog, and that will make it a 3-4, and he can definitely do some damage here against Doomsday. Downside to that is Doomsday can just go off at the snap of a finger and truly end it for you. So it looks like it was 3, 4, 5 damage coming across, putting Hunter down to 12. Well, maybe not 12. I was at 17. Maybe my math isn't good. Alright, Swords of Plowshare drawn. Not very good for Andres here. So let's see if he can turn that Swords of Plowshare into something else. Resolves and he takes a peek, finds an underground, a probe, and a walk. Yeah, that's a pretty good find for him. He can put back the... I'm not quite sure what he put back there. Probably the frog, and I'll get to walk here. Which means he'll get to redraw the frog. Got a fluster. Alright, walk not happening. Brainstorm still in hand with a blue card. I decided not to fire off that get probe because that is his other blue card. But it looks like we have a time walk in Hunter's hand. See if we're going to be able to pull something out here. Dark Ritual with, it looks like, a Doomsday to follow. We do know that he has the Force in hand, and it looks like he's going to fight in the stack as opposed to fighting the Doomsday itself. Got to consider here, he's at 6 life. If he forces this, that could put Hunter in a pretty bad spot. Force pitching Get Probe, force pitching Time Walk. 1 into the bin, fresh draw. Some cards knocked over. This has got to be it, though, right? Gush. All right. It's going to pick up 2 more. Bowmaster's going to trigger for 2. This should be a Lotus and into an Oracle. And just like I said a moment ago, Island, Lotus, Oracle. That the Doomsday deck can just go off right away. If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Game 2, both players have kept 7, and Andres is going to lead off on a Lotus Petal, a Tundra, and see if he's able to do anything else. He does have a Recall in hand. During upkeep, he's going to cast that beautiful Beta Ancestral Recall and pick up 3 fresh ones. Found a Lotus, a Spell Pierce, so he's got to be pretty happy about that, with a Consign and also a Lavinia in hand. Lavinia is not the end-all be-all against Doomsday. It just makes it a little bit tougher. Hunter's up to the challenge, I'd imagine, and we'll see how he handles that when it does come into play. Andres is going to be able to protect that Lavinia when it comes down with a Spell Pierce. So, going to shuffle off that Ponder. Hunter didn't like what he saw, picked up a Consider. He has a Dark Ritual in hand, so just trying to piece it all together here. Another land from Andres. See a fetch, and Lavinia is probably going to come into play here, which will then allow the Lotus to come into play undeterred. Lotus, and then won't see the Lurrus ball yet, but we'll see it next turn. Unfortunately, he does just rip a Black Lotus off the top, so he's going to have to work through this like an honest man and find his way through it. Consider. Take a look at the top card. Doesn't like another consider. Draws. So, Gush. Oh, man, he needs to find one more land, and then he can potentially work through this Lavinia. Force of Will now found. So Force of Will with Consign and a Wasteland. It's gonna... Alright, that's gonna definitely set Hunter back. He's gonna consider again. Take a peek. This 4 consider deck is pretty neat. Finds an Ancestral Recall. And yeah, Force is no good for him either. Now we're going to see the Lurrus play, where he buys Lurrus, plays the Lotus, and it's a pretty neat thing that the Lurrus decks can do. Found a Flusterstorm. Ancestral Recall could put him back into this game, but he's looking kind of tight here. Pass back over, upkeep, we're going to see an Ancestral. We're going to see probably a Spell Pierce, and that's probably going to wrap this game up pretty quick from here. Lavinia and a Lurrus making it difficult. Another Spell Pierce drawn with a Force of Will in hand and a Consign to Memory. Can't really see how Hunter's going to get out of this. Lotus Petal played from the graveyard. And a pass back over if nothing else is left. That sweater's just catching all this edge of the sleeve. Alright. Got a Fluster, a Dark Ritual. Just no way to go nuts here yet. Another Lavinia. An extra card to pitch. And he can hard cast a Force now, as well as cast a Spell Pierce. If he plays his land, he can also consign as well. Don't see any real way out of this for Hunter at this point. Under City Sewers, not to be mistaken with Over City Sewers. Brainstorm. It's going to let him at least look at the top 3 cards and decide if that's even worth trying to do. I don't think so here. Unless he sees something I don't. This looks pretty tough. And a Ponder. Top 30 Shuffle. What is... I don't even know what he's looking for here. Maybe a Fatal Push. Alright, backs it up. Game number 3. Andres on 6, Hunter on 7. Hunter on the play, and he gets to take a peek at Andres' hand here. So, only one Force Negation. Spell Pierce is not active at the moment. So just one Force Negation. Let's see if Hunter's able to just do what combo decks do. There's a Sapphire. Oh, by the way, all of these altars are done by Kai Salvatore. You can check out his website and get some for yourself. I think these are custom done, so I think you'd have to custom order each one. But he does make some beautiful playtest cards and altars. So be sure to check out Kai Salvatore. I will link him in the show notes, so you can go check out his website. He has some cool tokens, as well as like deck dividers and stuff like that. And he's also a really good Doomsday player. So be sure to check that out. Looks like we've got a turn 1 Doomsday going here with a Force of Will backup. This is how you know you're in trouble, when they see the Force Negation anyway, and you still play. So Ancestral, now we'll probably see the Force Negation. Force will come back out. We'll see more than likely a Lotus. A Lotus with the Oracle. So there's the Lotus, there's the Oracle, and that will be the match. Thanks for watching. Welcome to round 2 of our Vintage Extravaganza. Andres leading off on an unlimited Black Lotus. It's a shame it's not black bordered. And let's see if he's got... Oh, he has a Lore Revealed, so he's going to be able to play his patented turn 1 Frog. Brainstorm first, though, to see if he can just pick a land up so he doesn't have to Lore Revealed. He does not find the land. Does find a Force of Will, a Bobble, and a Misstep, though. So 2 of those are going to go back on top. He's going to keep the Force and the Misstep. We'll see him cycle away the Lord and Revealed. Go get an Underground Sea and ba-bump. Turn 1 Frog. All right. Has recently been banned in Legacy, where we typically play until Hunter got us all drug into Vintage a little over a year now, and we've all been having a great time learning the format. It's a shame that's not black bordered as well. And then here comes all of my non-black bordered stuff. So Soul Ring, which is beta at the moment because I don't know why I hadn't changed that art, but Hunter just kind of going nuts with the Jeweled Shops deck. So does have a Tinker as well as a Ring. So I wonder if he wants to bait out a Force using the Ring first, or if he's going to go for Jewel. So 3 mana, 4 mana. Okay, so he can actually just go for Tinker, or he can go for Ring to see if he can bait out the... Alright, let's see what he's doing here. He's a better Jewel player than I am, so he's going to Tinker first, Force pitching the Misstep. So that's gone, but now he can just... Oh, okay. Never mind. He can just bounce the Force Will back to Andres' hand, get a Jewel, and here we go, off to the races. Phyrexian Metamorph, it turns into another Jewel, draws 3 cards. There is still a Frog in play, though, so he does have to be careful to not run out of gas here. 3 mana. That Sweater just catching everything. What else he got? He's got a Ring. He's going to untap a Jewel. He gives him 4 mana. Does he have a PO? There's a Ring. No mana left in the pool. Picks up 1 card. Finds a Sapphire. Is he able to keep going here? Nope, passes back over. So Andres is going to get a chance to steal the Ring and the Jewel. Oh, God, that is such a bad feeling as the Jewel player. I had this happen to me on MTGO, and literally the Lurrus player I think they drew 9 cards or 12 cards off of me, and were able to play through everything back down to hand size, and then they drew a Demonic Tutor and went got a Time Walk and Time Walked me. It was rough. Not a fun day for me. But I mean, with a Ring being in play and Andre's not really finding too much else, he does find a Dig Through Time here, or a Dog Through Time, if you will, and he at least gets to take a peek at the next 7 cards and at least pick up 2 more. So maybe he can find another set of Force of Wills. Force of Will on the Dig Through Time, and it looks like Andres is going to let that resolve. All right, back over to Hunter. We've got a Ring going with a key, so that's pretty good, as well as he has a Phyrexian Metamorph that can copy the Jewels. It finds another Phyrexian Metamorph that can copy another Jewel. So he just needs to beat a Force of Will here. How much mana does he have? Not quite enough. Alright, so he's going to dig a little bit deeper, try and find a Force of his own, and it looks like he may have... Alright, another Ring. Or not another Ring, another key, jeez. Hardcast Force of Will. He's going to let the key go. So that does open up the chance for him to play an Ancient Tomb here, copy the Ring, draw 3 cards. Not the Ring, Jesus. The Jewel, draw 3 cards. Oh man, now it's going. So finds a Mox Pearl. More additional mana. Here comes another one. Another Jewel, draw 3. And I believe this is where the game ends for the most part. If it has a PO in hand as well, and another way to cast another Jewel. So 3 more, another Jewel. This game is basically locked up at this point. Finds the time vault, has the PO, and PO back the key and the ring, and that will stop any life loss on his side, and he's able to just take infinite turns. So, and he has a Force of Will with a blue card backup. Got some extra mana floating here. 3 colorless, and he's going to burn 2 colorless and a blue. Or 2 blue. And he's just going to draw the rest of his deck. Andres takes a peek. I don't think there's anything he can do at this point. So we have a PO for, 9, 10. PO for 10. All right, Andre's going to draw his own 10 cards as well. And we'll see you guys in game number 2. Welcome back to game number 2 in this round number 2. Andre's playing the restricted Lotus Petal that he draws all the time, and the restricted Brainstorm that he draws all the time. He is not a big fan of Brainstorm in this format. He can probably explain it better than I can. I don't know that reason, but he is not going to be able to cast a turn 1 Lavinia, which is really good news for Hunter. He does get a frog, though. Passes it back over to Hunter, and Hunter rips a fucking Black Lotus. All right, that's a little bit better than a Lotus Petal. Has a Karn at the ready, a Time Walk ready as well. So we'll see how Hunter wants to put this together. We're going to lead off with an Ancient Tomb into a Black Lotus. A Mana Vault. Maybe he Time Walks here. Maybe he plays the Karn. He's going for the Karn first. Andres with a Lavinia in his hand. All right. Karn is on 5. See if he's going to roll it up to 6. He could pop that Jet right now. Yep. Which is what he does. Lotus gone. And he's going to Time Walk. Andre's not happy about that. And Hunter will take a damage from the Mana Vault down to the Karn, get a Lodestone Golem, and I believe he can play. Alright, so double Ancient Tomb. So he is taking quite a bit of damage here. But there's a Golem in play, which means Lavinia cannot come down this turn. Pithing Needle can come down and name Karn as well. It's because it only costs 1. It's kind of tough. The Frog can also just discard everything out of his hand at this point and just kill the Karn. So that's something he can do. He can jump. Yep, jump, kill the Karn, and also draw a fresh card. Tinker in Hunter's hand is going to make this a little bit easier of a game. He does need to find... Oh, he does have a blue mana with the... Academy. And I completely forgot what I was trying to say. He has a Dismember as well for that Frog. So he could play the Academy. He can Tinker. Alright, how's he want to do this? Play the Academy, Tinker. Alright, Dismember first. Only 1 card in Andre's hand. Frog bites the bullet. Attacks for 5, passes back over. 1 mana. He's going to cycle Alluring Revealed. And he has a Spell Pierce against a bazillion mana. Hunter's going to take another damage from the Mana Vault. 2 more damage from the Ancient Tomb. And we're going to see a Tinker sacking the Mana Vault. More than likely going to get a Phyrexian Metamorph. And that's what he's getting. He's going to copy the Lodestone Golem. So pass back over to Andres. Not much he can do here. Lethal on board. He's got a Frog in hand that he can cast and block one of the Lodestones. See if he can find a Source of Plowshare or something else to try and get him through this. That's it. Thanks for watching. So we're starting off with some mulligans here. Serum Powder from Evan, being able to draw a fresh, I believe, 7, and then he can choose to mulligan, which he has done, and he draws 6, and then he's able to Serum Powder. Actually, he draws 7, able to Serum Powder by. Someone can probably explain this better than me. So he mulligans down to 6, and then he can use Serum Powder to draw an additional 6 cards. Dan leading off on a Mishra's Workshop and a Mana Vault. Evan with the namesake of the deck, or something along those lines, which is the Bazaar of Baghdad, and he's going to lead off on a hollow one. So Dan's going to get to see how these decks truly do play out if he doesn't have a ring loop or anything along those lines. And we've got a Summer Island coming into play, tapping of the Mana Vault, and we're going to see a Tinker sacking it, Force Negation coming out of Evan's hand, the fastest counterspell in the West, and back over to Evan. So Evan's going to be able to have the Ichrid trigger during his upkeep, and with the trigger on the stack, he can use the Bazaar. And nothing to dredge, but he can put 3 cards in discard, and that's what he does. Finds a Silver Smoke Ghoul, a Force of Will, and a Shambling Shells. I believe are the 3 cards he put away. And let's see. Now he can trigger the Ichrid, getting rid of like a Silver Smoke Ghoul or something along those lines. Let's see if he's going to trigger the Ichrid and have 7 power in play on turn 2, or if he has something else playing here. So Ichrid trigger, see if he's going to decide to use it. So yes, he's going to exile a Silver Smoke Ghoul, putting an Ichrid into play, which will trigger the Prize of Amalgam at end step. And then now he has his natural draw. He gets to dredge a Shambling Shell for 3. Finds another Silver Smoke Ghoul with a Creeping Chill, hitting Dan for 3. That will now trigger the 2 Silver Smoke Ghouls that are in the graveyard still. And at end step, we'll see the Ichrid sacrifice. So we can swing for 7 here. Ichrid, alright, another Bazaar. So we have a Stinkweed Imp in the graveyard. Let's see what we go here. So Bazaar again, activation. We're going to dredge 5 on the Stinkweed Imp. So it finds a Golgari Thug, Stinkweed Imp, and Jesus. Alright, this is getting pretty well out of hand. Narcomoeba trigger on the stack. So let's see. Pitches 3 back from the Bazaar. Narcomoeba is going to come into play. That's going to trigger the Prize of Amalgams again. So fresh Prize of Amalgam is triggered. He has Shambling Shells. He has plenty of dredgers in the yard. So when he passes back over to Dan, he's going to get a trigger for triple Silver Smoke Ghoul and double Prized Amalgam Ichrid in the graveyard. And there are our triggers happening. So triple Silver Smoke, double Prized Amalgam, and there is more than lethal on the board. Dan needs a ring right now. So if he has a ring, then he'll be in pretty good shape. If he doesn't, there's nothing that gets him out of this from this particular position. It's just too much damage on the board at one time. So let's see. Untap draw. Alright, untap and draw. Talon Gates is not going to get it done. Too much power on the board for this turn. And I don't think he's going to be able to even pick the card up. Alright, see you in game number 2. Dan's on 7, Evan is on 6. Dan got to see the full weight and power of the Dredge deck. So Dan leading off on a Sulphur Springs or something along those lines. Whatever Sink into Stupor is backwards. But that lovely altar on the flip card coming from Hunter, who you've watched previously in the past 2 matches. His girlfriend made that for me at the Christmas draft. So that's actually Lavinia being pulled into the Stupor. So it's really nice of her to make that for us. And now we've got a Grim Monolith, and see if we're going to pass it back. So hopefully Evan doesn't have a Force of Vigor, which it doesn't look like he does for instep, but he does have a Bazaar. So we're going to tap that Bazaar, and we're going to at least get to put 3 cards in the graveyard, and potentially a Force of Will, or something along those lines he will find, be able to head off the next thing that happens here. So it's like we've got a Thug, an Icarid, and a shell, maybe? Let me double check that and see. Looks like a Shambling Shell in the graveyard. So he has 2 Dredgers in the graveyard with an Icarid. So we can put that Icarid on the stack like we did last game and try and get through this. So leads off on a Tinker, sacking the Mox Pearl. That is going to get a Jewel, Force of Will, another land drop, and a Phyrexian Metamorph. So not enough. Well, he can go for another Jewel here. So we'll see a Vexing Bauble, Misstep coming from Evan. And then what else do we have? We have 4 total mana available. We can Phyrexian Metamorph or Ancestral Recall at this point. No Jewel, but we can play a Ring, which will protect us for a turn. It will not protect the fact that he's going to lose the Jewel. Mindbreak Trap from Evan. Force of Will, pitching, Force of Will. Alright. Looks like that's going to resolve. So we have a Ring in play now. You can tap it, draw a card. And what I was saying was, the Icarid comes back next turn. It can steal the Jewel. But he does have protection. So the amount of stuff that could happen to him next turn is very slim, other than Evan getting to dredge a whole bunch. Mistress Workshop, tap it, and we have a Time Vault in play tapped, so we just need to find a key or something along those lines. We did just burn the Tinker for the Jewel, which got us a little bit deeper. But Golgari Thug is being dredged. Next, Shambling Shell for 3 is being dredged. Still have a Narcomoeba trigger on the stack after he pitches these 3 cards. And he will have a natural draw step as well. So Narcomoeba is going to come out, and that will trigger the Prized Amalgams in step. And if he's able to gain 3 life, alright, Icarid's in play. So 3 power to come over, steal the Jewel, and then Evan can dredge a lot more. Good thing is he doesn't have very many big dredgers. There are only 3 dredgers, or cards that dredge 4/3. Probably see an attack here from Evan to steal that ring. Noxious Revival putting Bazaar back on, so he is planning to steal this ring and draw at least 1 card off this Bazaar. Actually, he gets to draw the Bazaar naturally for his natural draw step. He is empty-handed at the moment, but he does have a Bazaar. Not empty-handed, he has 1 extra card in hand. So we're going to dredge again. Golgari Thug for 4. And then a Shambling Shells for 3. Now he's got to discard 2 cards, 3 cards. There's another Silver Smoke Ghoul. He didn't find the Creeping Chill, but when he attacks and gets this trigger on the Coveted Jewel, then he gets to draw 3 more or dredge 3 more. Does come over untapped, so he's just double checking to make sure how it taps. Yep, so trigger gets to draw 3 cards, and he can dredge each time that happens. So again, luckily, he does at least have his shield up against the ring. Undetected. So something for Evan to think about if he watches this video is if they have a 1 ring like this, typically Undetected. You don't want to dredge too heavily in case you do hit your silver bullets with the Creeping Chills. You would typically do it in his upkeep. That way you have a better chance of hitting those Creeping Chills when he doesn't have protection from the ring. Because Evan does gain 3 life, which will bring back all the Silver Smoke Ghouls that are in his graveyard, which I believe is 2 or 3. And then also the Prized Amalgams will come back as well because the Narcomoeba came out. So we'll see how this is played. He does have 3 mana available. I think he does pass a turn, but right here, because the Icarid dies, he brings everything else back, and then he casts a Stinkweed Imp, which can't be done at instep because Stinkweed Imp does not have flash. but I believe at this point it's kind of moot. So everything out of the graveyard. Yeah, so yeah, it's in step, but it's all good. Pass back over to Dan. Let's see if Dan can make something out of this game. He needs to loop another ring or find another jewel. But he does get a chance to. Oh, he has Ancestral Recall as well. So he gets a lot of looks here. He'll get to draw 2 first on the ring. Let's see what he finds. Finds another Workshop, which is a ton of mana, which puts Jewel into play. He has another ring in his hand as well, so he can protect himself for another turn. He will lose his Jewel if this goes the way it went last turn. So let's see what he does here. 6 mana.
Undetected.
Jewel time. 1, 2, Force, PO, and Time Walk with an Ancestral Recall in hand and a Sapphire as well. Dan's looking pretty good here. He's going to recall himself first. Draw 3 additional cards. Stupor, Pithing Needle, Stupor. So he could Pithing Needle, name in the Bazaar, and then play a ring and pass, or he can try and keep going a little bit deeper here. He also does have the Time Walk, so he can utilize the Time Walk. Evan asked him if he wants to sacrifice that turn to the Time Vault. I don't believe that's something that would interest Dan too much here. Pithing Needle on using the last mana name Bazaar, and Tabernacle would pretty much lock this up. I think we're pretty close to it. Untap, takes 2 damage from the ring. Gets to untap the ring as well. Draw 3 cards with the ring this turn. Double Stupor. Phyrexian Metamorph. Looks like it was the draw for turn. And he gets to draw 3 more cards with the ring as well. So Metamorph onto Jewel. Trinisphere, Force of Will. Alright, he's in really good shape here. He's got the Grim Monolith he can play out as well. He's got the PO in hand. He can PO back everything but the ring, or everything but the jewel, sorry. And then just kind of go again. So it's a ton of mana on tap. So ring's going to go for 3. Another PO, Talon Gates. Yeah, this game's over. So for anybody who's still watching, Dan's going to draw a bunch of cards here, try and find his key to untap his Time Vault, and then slowly win the game from there. So PO back, I believe it's 5 or 6? 5. Alright. And Evan scoops it up. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you on Friday. If you've been enjoying our content, please be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below.